How's it going, my RWBY friends? I just finished watching Volume 6, Chapter 13, the final episode of RWBY for Volume 6. It's crazy how quick this volume flew by. It really, everyone I talk to, it seems like they agree too. Just flew by. I don't know. What's up with that? Anyways, let's get started with this review. This is my first thoughts upon watching the chapter. I have not rewatched the finale. This is my first impressions. Talked to people in Discord for about 30 minutes, but now I'm making this video. And of course, I got the live stream coming out at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so I don't have much time. By the time this is uploaded, probably only be about an hour or even less until the live stream. So if you're watching this shortly after it's uploaded, be sure to tune into the live stream. 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday, January 26th. That's today. Just in case you're watching this after the 26th and the stream's already done. But I will be doing more RWBY streams. I'm going to be doing like a whole Volume 6 recap stream coming up. So keep that in mind. The stream today is only going to be reviewing the chapter, the finale, and talking about, well, maybe we'll talk about the volume a bit, but specifically like throughout the next coming week, I'm going to do like a whole recap of Volume 6 stream. Probably have some people in Discord that we can talk to as well about all that, and it should be fun. Anyway, so here's my review for chapter 13, guys. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to mention is a little bit of a rant. The episode length, horrible, very short episode length. The chapter was pretty solid. It had some low points, but the episode length was definitely a standout low point, and I'm a little bit salty about how short it was. I was streaming yesterday, doing a pre-finale stream. If you guys tuned in for that, you might have heard me mention this. If you didn't, I'll mention it right now. I was saying if the finale was 25 minutes long, including the intro, outro, and the Genlock ad, that would be very short. What we got was even shorter than that. What we got was like a 16-minute chapter. And actually, when you take out the intro and the outro and everything, it's basically a 14-minute chapter, a 14-minute finale. That's a bit unacceptable to me, honestly. And the Genlock episodes, you have Genlock episode 1 at 32 minutes and 7 seconds. Genlock episode 2 at 26 minutes and 16 seconds. These coming out around the same time that the finale was out. Now, some people will say that it's different departments, so it doesn't affect RWBY. That's a terrible argument. Terrible argument, because they are working under the same company, and the company can allocate resources to different departments. So just because it's a different department, it does not excuse it to drop the ball. Rooster Teeth obviously allocated a lot of their finances towards Genlock, and they took finances away from RWBY. That's evident. We even see in this finale, FPS drop. Like when Cordovan is with the mech and she appears and she's like diving for the Leviathan. I'm sure you guys noticed the FPS went to crap in that scene. Definitely some of the RWBY budget was taken out and put to Genlock. There's no question about that. So it's unfortunate and it's annoying, especially because every chapter of RWBY in this volume has had a Genlock ad. Honestly, it's at the point where I don't even really want to watch Genlock anymore. Like I don't even know if I'm gonna watch it, to be honest. It's kind of just like upset me a little bit. I'm here for RWBY. I support what Rooster Teeth does. I understand, why they have to do these things, and I want them to succeed as a company. But that doesn't mean you're going to take away from your flagship show that most of your community base is here for to push a different agenda. That does not sit well with me. With that rant aside, let's talk about the chapter. So we open up with the Neo and Cinder scene. This was pretty lit. I like their new outfits. Don't get me wrong. I love Neo's old outfit. Her classic outfit was freaking awesome. And they even changed it a little bit in Volume 6. For example, her outfit used to have like pink undertones to it. And although they didn't actually change the coat, they removed that pink undertone. What do I mean? Like the inside of it was pink. But in Volume 6, the inside of it was just white, like the outside. It's like they forgot about the pink, or I don't know. They changed it intentionally. I don't know. Either way, she gets a new outfit. And the new outfit's pretty lit. I like seeing her tummy. That's nice. Neo's looking pretty sexy with that exposure in some places. And Cinder's new outfit's also very lit with the thighs showing and everything like that. Oh my gosh. She's looking like a freaking masquerade ball, dude. Like the mask and the freaking like coat, like the whatever it is, the cape or coat. She's looking literally like she's at a masquerade ball or something. And Neo kind of as well. Now, Neo's semblance was lit this episode, literally masking and changing the entire ship, dude. Like, Cinder mentioned in their fight that Neo got stronger, and it was evident then that she got stronger because she literally had her illusion fighting for her for most of that fight. And like literally like Neo's illusion was freaking putting in work on Cinder, which is crazy. And then we see Neo doing stuff like this. So I love it. They've like made Neo was already pretty dang strong and pretty OP, and they've like made her even stronger and more OP. So I love that as a huge Neo fan. That makes me happy. And it was kind of cool to see Cinder bring up the Pure Destiny quote, like little Pure reference there. That was pretty cool. Moving on to the Leviathan scene, there's a lot to talk about on this one. So it opens up with the Argus military calling the Leviathan a Leviathan class Grim. So now we have to wonder, is the Leviathan Grim actually a Leviathan, or does it have a different name and it's a part of this Leviathan class? and all the maybe big Grims, or maybe big Ocean Grims specifically, would be Leviathan class. And in that case, the Leviathan is actually like not a Leviathan, it's a Leviathan class Grim. Or maybe it's a Leviathan class Grim and it's a Leviathan. I don't know. So that's just interesting wording. I like the design a lot on the Leviathan. I mentioned this before. I think it's a pretty cool design. It's dope. It does remind me a little bit of Godzilla, because like when Godzilla uses his atomic breath, his spines will like heat up. And when the friggin' Leviathan used his atomic breath, fire breath or whatever, the gills like heated up and you could see it. So that was cool. I don't know. All around, I think they did a great job designing the Leviathan. Although it kind of got defeated a bit like easily. That was a bit disappointing, but I'll get to that in a second. So Cordovan claiming it was RWBY & Co.'s fault was kind of funny. I mean, she's not entirely wrong. They did kind of, it is their fault. They're the ones who literally went on the base, stole a ship, and made this old lady go crazier than she already was. Now, did Cordovan react to it very well? No. She did not react to it well at all. She made very bad tactical mistakes. Probably not a good idea to have taken that mech out to chase down a ship. Probably she should have just sent ships after it and not tried to do it all on her own. Especially, excuse me. Especially, she should have been answering the calls from Argus. She was kind of ignoring them. So she definitely made tactical mistakes. So no, it's not entirely Cordovan's fault. And it's not entirely RWBY & Co.'s fault. But if we have to say who instigated this all, it was RWBY & Co. So they're more at fault than Cordovan, in my opinion. Then the Leviathan approaches Argus. We get these hard light defenses up. This was a bit silly and ridiculous to me, to be honest. Like, you're going to put a hard light wall up, but you're going to have the generators exposed. That just kind of felt like plot convenience, I'm going to be honest. It doesn't make sense. Like, sure, scientifically, like, maybe it would make sense, like, oh, the hard light doesn't cover that because it's generated from it, so it can't cover it. But that just seems like a shoddy design, and maybe they should have designed it better. And it feels like for the sake of plot convenience, they did that so the Leviathan could, like, breathe the fire on the pole and bring down the hard light. If it was that easy to bring down the hard light shield, like, it's almost irrelevant to even have it. Almost irrelevant, because it did slow it down for a few seconds, but how much money do you think went into building that defense? Probably a ton, right? So was it really worth it? Probably not. They needed a better design. Felt like plot convenience to me. So this was cool. We finally got Crow doing some cool stuff in this volume. And it's kind of sad that I have to say this is some cool stuff, because it's like, that's how desperate I am for Crow. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about in a second. It's like, I'm so desperate for Crow to do some cool stuff this volume, because this whole volume he's been a bit useless. Honestly, a bit useless. Aside from chapter 1 when he did some cool stuff fighting the Grim off there, but even that felt like he was jobbing a little bit because he got wrecked by the Sphinx. But he did do some cool stuff in chapter 1. But aside from that, he's just been like freaking out kind of and drinking, and it doesn't feel like the Crow that we always knew and loved, like the volume 3 Crow, who was the badass uncle that would save the day when he needed to. Didn't feel like that. And I get that it's his character development stuff, but the point is this. I'm so desperate for Crow to do cool stuff that I have to appreciate this as a cool moment when it really isn't that cool. But technically, he did save everybody this chapter. Now I'll explain what I'm talking about. The ship was going in front of the Leviathan so RWBY could try to silverize it, or at least have everyone slow it down first. And they weren't going to make it in time with the fire breath. So Crow told Maria to pull up that they're not going to make it. Maria listened to Crow and pulled it up, and they missed getting freaking hit by the fire breath. So if Crow didn't say that, they would have been directly hit by the fire breath. Most of those people don't have aura anymore. The ship probably would have blown up. They would be stranded in the ocean. No doubt in my mind, a lot of them would have died right then and there. A lot of the characters probably would have been boop, donesos. So Crow definitely saved a lot of people, if not everybody. And maybe everybody, because if that happened, probably the Silverize wouldn't have happened, and all, it would just be all bad. So Crow kind of saved everybody, and that's cool. I like it. RWBY riding the Lancer was pretty dope. More kind of like White Rose vibes a little bit. We had some of that in the earlier chapters of this volume, like when RWBY pulled Weiss into her semblance like she did with Noora in volume 4. And now we got RWBY like riding the Lancer. It was cool. It was cool. But it seems silly, I guess. Like, you can't say everything's a shipping thing when you have people doing team attacks. Like, these kind of things are going to happen in a team. Is it a shipping thing every time? No. Realistically, no. But it's still kind of cool. Then we have the Silverite scene. All the sad memories with the flashback. I'm a bit 50-50 on this, to be honest. On one hand, I thought it was cool. Let me get some coffee. Showing all these past scenes in that different, like, anime kind of art style. That was cool. But at the same time, it kind of felt like a cheap way of pulling at the viewer's emotions for the finale. Like, they gave us a very short finale length, and it felt like because the chapter was so short for a finale, they had to do some like cheap stuff to pull at our emotions to make us feel emotionally invested into it. So what good way of doing that? Oh, let's show the viewers how Pyrrha died again and how Penny died again, and let's show them how Blake and Yang were suffering on the floor and like all this sad stuff, and how Yang was like depressed. Like, let's show the viewer all this stuff and get them emotionally invested because our chapter is actually super short. So we got to do something cheesy to pull them in. It felt like that to me. I was 50-50 on it. Cool to see that, but at the same time felt kind of cheap and cheesy, and like they were kind of making up for the short episode length in a cheap way. Then RWBY yelling for Jin was pretty clever. When she went down to use Silver Eyes, that was a cool scene. I like that. Definitely clever and quick thinking by RWBY, but it's also funny because it mirrors the first time she summoned Jin, which was also in a panic. She panic summoned Jin this time. She panic summoned Jin last time when Ozpin was like, no! And she was like, Jin! And we were getting all kind of scared. So kind of like that. And it was cool thinking. Jin admitted it was cool thinking too. Said she'll never do that again though, unless RWBY has an actual question. My question to Jin is, how are you going to know if RWBY has a question or not? Like, if RWBY summons you, aren't you going to, by default, stop the time and then be like, what's your question? And she'll be like, oh, I don't have one. I just did the thing again. And Jin would be like, really? I told you I wouldn't come. And she'd be like, well, you already just did. And she'd be like, I guess you're right. So, I don't know. How Jin is going to know if RWBY really has a question or not? I don't know. We'll see. And it's funny because, you know, it's like when you talk to a genie, you need to be careful because they can do tricky stuff with the way questions are phrased or like wishes are phrased, right? Like it can kind of be underhanded in that. So RWBY can actually do the same thing here with Jin. She could be like, well, technically, Jin, you said I can never summon you again without a question, but what if we have Blake do that? Like, you know, then we can kind of work around that loophole. And then, oh, Blake summoned you, not me. We don't have a question, but I you know, I didn't do it, so it's fine. It's like, hey, you're pulling the fast one on a genie. It's kind of funny. Summer Rose, man, that was lit. It was really cool seeing Summer Rose. We finally saw what she actually looks like. She looked amazing. Looked like a splitting image of RWBY. A little bit older, a little bit different haircut. But aside from that, splitting image of RWBY. Amazing. We already knew she was because of what everyone says. But we never actually like seen her full on and animated and everything. And it was cool seeing her white cape blowing. It reminded me of Nana Shimura a little bit, actually. Obviously. White capes and all that. White cloak, I should say. And the song playing, which in the credits is titled Indomitable. So this is pretty sick. A quote from Monty in 2012. Actually, this song seems to reference that quote from Monty in 2012. A quote which I'll read to you right now. Basically, the context behind this is Monty in 2012 was talking about his mother's passing and how it affects work ethic and stuff like that. So it's kind of some sad stuff, and it definitely fits in well with RWBY thinking about Summer. Here's the quote from Monty. I believe that the human spirit is indomitable. If you endeavor to achieve, it will happen given enough resolve. It may not be immediate, and often your greater dreams is something that you will not achieve within your own lifetime. The effort you put forth to anything transcends yourself, for there is no futility even in death. Let me read that one more time. I believe that the human spirit is indomitable. If you endeavor to achieve, it will happen given enough resolve. It may not be immediate, and often your greater dreams is something that you will not achieve within your own lifetime. The effort you put forth to anything transcends yourself, for there is no futility even in death. That's some powerful stuff right there, honestly, and it's crazy. With, you know, what happened to Monty and his passing at an early age, but leaving such a legacy behind. It's almost like he knew, kind of, you know? It's crazy. I mean, it's relative because he was talking about passing with his mother, but then what we know what happened to him. It's sad, man. But it's very fitting for this scene with RWBY in Summer, and the song title is very, very fitting to this quote. And it just goes to show that, you know, this is a crazy thing for Rooster Teeth to do. Like, they made the song titled Indomitable and referenced this quote from all the way back from 2012 with it. Like, that's pretty impressive. There's no doubt in my mind that, you know, Rooster Teeth, RWBY did love Monty, and they were friends. You know, I know there's a lot of drama with that Lettergate stuff that came out some years ago, but I think this is pretty good proof that, you know, they were friends and they care about Monty. Maybe not everybody on RWBY. I don't know about every individual relationship, but as a whole, I do think that they were definitely good friends. And, you know, they're sad that he's gone. And this is like, you don't bring up a quote from 6 years ago and put it in the show if you're not sincere about it. Like, to just find this quote and reference it like that, you know what I mean? Like, that's digging too far for something if they really weren't sincere about it. So there's no doubt in my mind that, you know, what I said. Anyways, I already mentioned it. I don't want to ramble. I think I've been pretty good so far. Let's move on. But that's just some powerful stuff, man. Jesus. Cordovan arrives after tearing off her arm. That was pretty crazy. So Cordovan finally getting some redemption, finally getting some clarity, remembering like why she has an Argus military base and her job is to protect the citizens, not just hunt down criminals. And yeah, RWBY and Co are kind of criminals because they did steal it, even though she pardons them at the end. But yeah, you know, she has some clarity. She ripped that arm off and went over there, and that was pretty lit. But the FPS drop, what was with that? So like, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, when Cordovan like jumps forward at the Leviathan, dude, the FPS literally goes to like 5. I don't know if that's intentional, like a joke about the Genlock FPS being horrible, or if that, like, I don't know if that was intentional or not. I feel like it was intentional though. And if it was, is it a joke about Genlock? Or, I don't know, are they trying to turn the Genlock FPS into a meme, like, so that we don't actually, like, make fun of it? I don't know. That's not going to work if they're trying to do that. Maybe they're not trying to do that anyway, though. And then she brings out the drill, literally Tenga Top and Gurren Lagann style, the drill that will pierce the heavens. Some of you might not get that reference. TTGL is a very famous anime, and it's an amazing anime, and you should all watch it if you haven't seen it. Okay, and then it was kind of weird that RWBY like perma-froze Kevin back in Volume 3 at Beacon, but failed to freeze the Leviathan. Like, yeah, it was very emotional for her to see Pyrrha like X'd off in front of her. But this was supposed to be very emotional as well. That's why we had literally like a flashback scene to every traumatic event that RWBY has had, or pretty much every traumatic event. So this should have also been very emotional, and she should have better control over her Silver Eyes now, given that she's used it 2 times since Beacon. 1 at Haven, 1 with the Apathy. I feel like maybe 3 times, but I don't know what the 3rd time would be. I think 2 times. Yeah, 2 or 3 times since then, and she's had Maria's help, like, harnessing it. So I would think that she would be a little bit better at using her Silver Eyes now, so it's weird that it didn't really work. Like, it just literally didn't really work. The Leviathan was breaking out of it fine. If Cordovan didn't show up, they would have been pretty screwed. And moving on to the next scene, they're flying in the ship headed to Atlas. So we get some Bumblebee vibes this scene. Noora kind of making it seem like it's pretty confirmed that Bumblebee's a thing. I'm still on the fence about it till they actually kiss. I don't think it's really confirmed until they actually like kiss. Or I don't know, like Noora says that Ren is her man. Like if Yang would say like, you're my girl or something like that. Like the hand holding is sweet and all, but that's not like enough confirmation for me. And yeah, they've done like other close things as well, like just being close to each other and all that. But I don't know. I want to see them like kiss or call each other, like either kiss or like actually tell us that you're dating now or something like that. Like so we can actually confirm it instead of this kind of like wishy-washy, like, oh, it's probably a ship, but you know, we're not actually confirming it yet, but probably they're shipped. Like no more of that crap. Like give us a definitive answer, dude. Like, are you scared to ship them or not? Like, friggin' enough of this playing around, dude. Like, either make it a thing or don't make it a thing. Let's move on, all right? Let's stop having this weird middle ground. And I think it's a good ship. I like Blake and Yang together, so let's get the ball rolling now, all right? We're on Volume 7 coming up, so, you know, we'll see what happens with that. I did think it was a bit weird how none of them talked about Adam, though. Like, they literally just killed somebody, Blake and Yang, in cold blood, and yeah, it was self-defense. But that's still a heck of a thing, dude. There's a reason why soldiers, when they're sent off to war and they have to kill people in the line of duty and it's for self-defense, like they're literally going to die if they don't do that, that they still have like shock and whatnot when they return. So if Yang already had PTSD and now she literally murdered someone in cold blood, you think they would kind of make that an important event in her life and also Blake's life? And I really feel like they're just going to brush over that and like, it's just annoying to me. Also, how they brushed over everything from The Lost Fable. And I've ranted about this before, so I'm not going to stay on this topic for a long time because y'all probably heard me talk about this. I hate how everybody saw such crazy stuff in The Lost Fable and didn't even bring it up. You saw how the moon was destroyed. Bro, if you lived in a world where the moon was destroyed and nobody knew how that happened, and you had a flashback by a freaking genie who's telling you the truth and showed you how it happened, that is like crazy. Like, you know how the moon got destroyed. Something literally everybody wants to know what the hell happened to the moon on your world, and you actually know what happened to it, and you're not even going to talk about it. What the heck? You're not going to talk about the fact that people had, like, literal magic and it got taken away? You're not going to talk about the fact that humanity was literally wiped out? You're not going to talk about the fact that Ozpin saw his kids killed in front of him by Salem? You're not going to talk about the fact that Ozpin led a successful kingdom and was, like, helping people out? You're not going to talk about the fact that, you know, society has like rebuilt itself, and you're not going to talk about the fact that the gods actually exist and you've seen them? Like, all this crazy stuff you're not going to talk about? that's really annoying to me. It just makes it feel like the characters didn't react to it. I want to see them react to it. I love these characters, you know? We've been with these characters for a long time, and they saw some of the craziest shiz, like, ever. And it would be cool to see their take on that stuff and see them react to that. And they just brush over it like it's nothing. And the only thing they take out of that whole thing is, oh, Ozpin lied a little bit. Bro, his lies are, like, very minimal, to be honest, and he's lying to people that he can't really trust. You can't expect him to trust you guys. He's worked with half of you for, like, 2 weeks, and the other half he knows a little bit more about, like Ruby and Yang, because he worked with their parents a little bit, but that still doesn't make them trustworthy. Like, I don't know, I'm not gonna get in a whole Ozpin rant here, but the point of this rant is that they brushed over the Lost Fable stuff, and they're probably gonna brush over this Adam stuff as well, and that's annoying to me. It just makes it seem insincere and unrealistic. But back to the good. I love how Maria told Crow that he did a good job. That was amazing. You know, it made Crow feel good too, because he looks up to Maria, so they finally, like, succeeded, and that was amazing. I also like how Maria low-key said, like, we could just leave everybody and go get the relic to Atlas, and leave everybody to deal with the defense of Argus. Because it goes to show how real freaking Maria is. Like, she is on... Dude, she is definitely part of the cause of this mission, getting the relic to Atlas, you know? So she's taking it real seriously. So that's cool, man. She's definitely a part of the group. Like, that's pretty showing. So I loved Maria telling Crow did a good job. That was amazing. And then Crow telling Maria that it was cool to work with her, and, like, it was cool seeing the Grim Reaper in action. Even though, you know, between us... She didn't really fight, but to Crow, this was still like seeing her in action because she was still helping out and flying a plane and stuff. So Crow was fanboying over her a little bit. She's telling him he did a good job. Ruby saying, I love you to Crow. Like, all this stuff warmed my heart. This was all amazing stuff. I loved it. And we even got a little bit of a Ozpin moment, and I love that because y'all know I love Ozpin. Friggin' Oscar saying, like, Ruby's freaking out about how Oscar landed the plane. And he's like a 14-year-old farmhand. Like, he shouldn't, like, it's crazy he pulled that off. But then he's like, you know, Ozpin actually appeared and helped me, like, guide me through it. So, no, Ozpin didn't take over. He just kind of helped Oscar stay calm. And then he went back into seclusion. So it goes to show, you know, Oz, he's still around, man. He still wants the best for our team. But he's kind of letting them try to work it out on their own. And we'll see how that goes. So far, it's kind of going well. And I say kind of because technically, you know, they did cause a lot of problems to Argus. But they're back on the course, and we'll see how it goes in Atlas from this point on. So that was just cool that, like, Ozpin got a little bit of credit there. And then freaking Yang, dude. I was actually, like, triggered. Like, I can't wait till you guys see my reaction when I can finally post it. Like, my response to Yang in that moment, because the Yang was like, has he been watching us the whole time? Like, freaking all... Oh, my God. So obnoxious, bro. Like, her sarcastic voice throwing shade at Ozpin again, even in the finale. Like, it's just ridiculous. I was pretty much forgiving Yang at this point because she's, like, seemed like she's moving on and whatnot. And here she goes being an idiot all over again. Oh, my God, Yang. I swear. Ugh. Disgusting. Anyways, she'll probably be better in Volume 7, I hope. We'll see, though. Hopefully Maria fixes her eyes in Volume 7 and Atlas. That would be pretty cool, too. And, Atlas looking crazy. So we were told that Atlas kind of, like, rose above Mantle in the world of Remnant. In some sort of, you know, dialogue like that, paraphrased. And literally, Atlas is freaking floating above Mantle. That's crazy stuff, man. So I guess they're using gravity dust, but they also have, like, those harnesses so it doesn't fly away too far. So it's, like, being levitated with the dust, but they secure it to be sure it doesn't, like, float away. Freaking the whole military's there on standby, ready to defend. Oh, man, Atlas is looking ready for business. And they're looking pretty, like, intimidating, too, honestly. If, yeah, I don't even know. Like, that place is looking real hard to beat. We'll see what Salem can do. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much covers everything except the ending scene. So the ending scene, Salem is completing her trope as the Wicked Witch of the West with her flying monkeys. Personally, monkeys creep me out in real life. And because of that, the Bearingle has... Well, actually, Bearingle's not really a monkey. Or wait, yeah, Bearingle is freaking a monkey. What am I talking about? It's just because bear, like a bear. No, Bearingle is a monkey. I don't even know. For a second, I thought it was a bear because I said Bearingle. I'm sorry. I haven't got that much sleep. I don't think all of us did. It was very hype night, right? For the finale. So she has her, like, flying monkey. So these Bearingles look a little bit smaller than the one we saw in the character short. But they're freaking wings and stuff. So that's going to be crazy. Like, flying Bearingles is super scary, dude. Bearingles are scary grims. And flying Bearingles is even scarier. So that's nuts. And then it's a callback to Volume 4, Chapter 1 with Mercury and Emerald looking through the window. That was really cool. So again, it's making me wonder, will Merc and M betray Salem? They're looking creeped out again like they did in Volume 4. We'll see. I don't see Emerald betraying Salem unless Cinder does, though. And we'll see what Cinder does So far, I'm gonna say Cinder's still working for Salem. That's pretty evident. Like, she still cares about Salem, but she's also dumb. Like, she's going against everything Salem says multiple times. So it's this weird relationship they have. So what happened to the Volume 5 scene, guys, with Raven and Tai Yang, you know? Raven appeared at Ty's house on Patch. We didn't see what happened. Did they end up talking? Did Raven just leave? Kind of thought maybe we would find out what happened there in Volume 6, but I guess not. So we don't really ever know what happened with that incident. Maybe we'll get it in Volume 7, or maybe they'll just forget that they even showed us that. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, maybe it's important just to show that Raven left, but all that gives us information that Raven went to Patch, and now she got to fly all the way back to Mistral. I don't think she's just going to abandon the Bandit Tribe. Maybe she will, but I mean, I don't know. It seems kind of out of character for her. Like, she says the tribe is like everything. Like, they raised her and Crow, and if she just abandons it like that, it's going to be a little bit weird. So we'll see how that plays out. So my closing thoughts on this volume. I think this was definitely maybe the best volume in the entire show. That said, I'm definitely biased because my favorite characters are Ozpin and Neo. I also love Crow, but Ozpin and Neo are like some of my favorite characters in the show by far. And obviously, this volume was a very highlight volume for Ozpin and Neo fans. So I'm a bit biased, honestly. So me saying this was my favorite volume is biased for sure. I'm gonna admit. If I wasn't a huge Neo and Ozpin fan, would this still be my favorite volume? I really don't know. I really don't know. But I always said Volume 1 was my favorite just because it felt like it had the most heart. And it was like the OG volume, and it's just fun to watch. And some people call it cringy, but it's not cringy to me. I like that humor. I think it's funny. It's like trying to be all anime, and that's like the meme of it. Like, it's intentionally like that. So I love Volume 1, but because of Neo returning in Volume 5, because of Ozpin backstory in Volume 5, and other cool stuff, I would say Volume 5 is probably my favorite chapter, or favorite volume. Even though it did have its weak points, and I mentioned where I felt it fell weak. Still, it's probably an amazing chapter. I'm in this review now. We're almost at 30 minutes, and I have to stream in 2 hours. So hopefully this will upload in time. A 30-minute video takes a pretty long time. So I could ramble and keep going, but I pretty much did everything. I brought up everything I wanted to in this review. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to sponsor the channel, consider donating via Patreon, link below. And one-time donations are also accepted through PayPal. Streamlabs, link below there as well. Appreciate you guys. Just hit that thumbs up button and subscribing if you're not. Turning on the notification bell also helps out, of course. So I appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the stream, hopefully. And if not, I'll catch you next time. That concludes Volume 6, guys. I'll see you in Volume 7. And, of course, during the hiatus, plenty of RWBY content to come out to hold you over. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I'll catch you soon. Peace.